We have quite a bit of console news going on here with the Nintendo Switch 2. It's obviously, Nintendo dropped the trailer, what was it, like a week ago or something like that? Time is simultaneously in January flying, but also crawling along at a pace. I cannot believe we're still in January. It's one of those things where we're kind of stuck in a mind prison where this month has just gone on and on and on. But then at the same time, like, events are starting to, maybe now that events are starting to really pick up, things are going to start moving along in an expedited pace and we can go ahead and get the hell out of this winter, because there was a point in time in my life where I really looked forward to the winter, and now, well, it's really much not that. I just want to get back to the spring and the summer and just be done with this absolute white mundanity. But talking about things that are going to be coming out later this year, and that will be the Switch 2. And yeah, we'll get confirmation when Nintendo does their direct on April 2nd, because we know a shockingly small amount of information right now. They just basically, it's like, hey, here's what our stuff looks like, here's how it connects, you have your Joy-Cons on the side. It's basically, an update on something that isn't broke, so they aren't trying to fix it. You can have a Mario Kart game, it might have 24 characters. Donkey Kong might have a new design. Who knows what we're planning over there, but we also know very little about, like, battery life, what the resolution on this is going to be, what's the hardware under the hood, like, what's this going to be comparable to, because we kind of know that it's not going to be anything like, stuff in a 5090 and 64 gigs of RAM. Like, it's just not going to happen like that, okay? But if it's something that's, I don't know, just good enough to put out 1080p 60 for your third-party games, which I hear in things, okay, oh, there's specs, and oh, there's dev kits that are out there and they can really push it, and third party, they're really excited about what they could do out there. First and foremost, it's like, okay, what big third-party releases that are out there right now would you actually be searching out to play on a Switch? I'm just saying, do we really need another Skyrim port? Can you really go 10 minutes without, playing Elden Ring or a Souls-like? Or if you're already doing that and playing that on the go, aren't you just using your Steam Deck for that? But this is basically about Nintendo games, okay? And the future that they're going to be proposing. And yeah, most of those games that they put out aren't exactly the most graphically intensive, because the Nintendo games does this weird thing called art development and has prolific art styles. Case in point, you take a look at a lot of the games that were released on the GameCube, and they still stand up to today's standards, because Wind Waker's cel-shaded design and Super Mario Sunshine's aesthetic, it's timeless. It was timeless upon release, and it has stayed that way to this very day. So yeah, they don't need cutting-edge DLSS, God rays, and whatever other buzzwords you want to foist in there, but early April is going to be very important. It's going to be incredibly important for the future of Nintendo, because they definitely learned, they didn't want to call this, the Switch U, the switcheroo. It's just simply Switch 2, okay? The first time that Nintendo's ever had a numbered console, the last time that they even played footsie with this concept was from the DS to the 3DS, which got a little cheeky with the naming, but the 3DS, I'm pretty sure, is one of, like, the top 5 best-selling consoles that's out there. So yeah, they kind of knocked it out the park. It's just the Wii U, ooh, not so much. What a trash, like, that was always going to be such a bad name. See, we mean we, but we also mean you're involved. And hey guys, look at, we got a very high-performing console, and we got good third-party support. So whenever I hear a Nintendo console get good third-party support, here's the thing, man. Okay, we're not back in the early 90s. Okay, this isn't the console wars or anything like that. Third party hasn't been a driver for Nintendo for a very long time. I mean, all of the best games that you traditionally don't think are Nintendo either are or came from their second party studios. Just go back to the N64. GoldenEye was Rare, and they were affiliated with Nintendo. And then everything else that you can think about is all basically first-party Nintendo titles. And then by the time that the GameCube came around, which was the most technologically advanced console of the 7th generation, it was such a bitch to develop for. All the third parties just decided to go deuces, and Nintendo had a big takeaway from that, going, oh, we need to focus on innovation and things that we can do, and don't really worry about, trying to win this arms race. And then followed that up with the Wii, and, the rest is history, of course. I think that's mostly what they're doing out here with the Switch 2, by just following up on what made them super successful by capitalizing on the mobile market game, while still placating their traditional console-centric audience, not sacrificing either, which is why people are genuinely looking forward forward to a console release. Meanwhile, looking at the rest of console gaming and seeing it circling the drain. But Nintendo Switch 2 price and release window reportedly revealed. Yeah, there's been a lot of leakers in regards to the Switch 2, because we generally knew what the console was looking like thanks to third-party manufacturers, console accessory guys. Okay, they were leaking specs of that for a minute in the lead up to the random trailer announcement on a Thursday evening or something like that when they dropped that. It's Nintendo being Nintendo. They're always going to do some crazy stuff. But the current leak is that it's coming this summer at a steep cost. That could be a problem. Okay, because here's the thing, like the Wii U, for as big of a bomb as it was, and even, the Nintendo GameCube, they weren't costly. But is this kind of a GTA 6 situation where, they're trying to capitalize on a lot of hype by overcharging their customers? Not smart, because your major competition, because Nintendo's not going against Microsoft, they're not going against Sony with this console. They're going against the Steam Deck, and the Steam Deck is very affordably priced, okay, especially for what it offers. And with the number of permutations that's out there, they've got to tread lightly. Okay, because as much as they have the dominant first-party titles, when you stack them against everybody else in the big three, in general, people can fire up an emulator, and Switch 2 games are going to be cracked faster. Many television screens were on release week for the Wii. You better not price yourself out of the market, because that'll be a stupid mistake. A recent rumor may have revealed the release window and price for the Nintendo Switch 2. Nintendo's announcement of the Switch 2 has sent the gaming world a buzz, with fans eager to learn more about the next generation console. Following the recently released teaser trailer and confirmation of a Nintendo Direct set for April 2nd, speculation about the price and release window for the Nintendo Switch 2 has intensified. The host at the Xbox Era podcast, why would they know? But okay, recently added fuel to the fire with the unverified rumors about a June 2025 release and pricing tiers. That would be... Okay, that seems weird, but we're dealing with Nintendo out here. They are definitely liable to do something that weird by just, June, the middle of summer, okay? Why do people think they're going to be getting them as, graduation gifts? Or give the kids something to do over the summer? That makes no sense at all. But in a post on X, Nick cited sources close to Nintendo, claiming the Switch 2 would launch in June of 2025 with two pricing options, okay? $449 for the base model and $500. That includes the new Mario Kart game teased in the trailer. Ooh. Yeah, that's not great, especially right now, because the economy is still very, very tough, and I'm just talking United States, Canada, but then for the rest of the world, it's still incredibly trepidatious. That's a pretty high delta, meaning that in Canada it'd be like $650 and then $7 for the full gaming experience. I remember when I bought the Switch not long after its initial release. Actually, it would have been the Christmas of the year that it came out, so whenever that was. I got a whole bunch of games. I got Odyssey, Breath of the Wild, the first Mario and Rabbids game. That was fun. Super Smash Brothers, and I think that's it. I think I plunked down $500 for that. I thought the Switch launched at $399. It's far more reasonable for a console, but this right here, that puts it directly in competition with some middle of the road Steam Deck options, which is not exactly flattering. Okay, he wrote, so the person told me June release is all but confirmed to be correct. That could mean the pricing they gave me was $449, $599, or $499 might be correct. $50 for Nintendo. For the Mario Kart bundle. Yeah, if accurate, the Switch 2's base price of $449 represents a $150 increase over the original Switch's launch price of $300. Right. Okay, it was $300. Yeah, and a $100 jump over the current OLED model. Ooh, that's not good. Which retails for $350, and if they're going to be doing any sort of pricing increase when it comes to their games, that's interesting. I guess they think they can get away with it, but of course this is all rumors and speculation right now. And maybe these are just numbers that are being released by leakers, people close to the business seeing how much they can get away with before they officially make a decision, because April 2nd is still a considerable amount of time away. And we know a shockingly small amount of confirmed information about the Switch 2. But people are at least talking about it, and people are at least excited about it. They're just also hoping, like myself included, that it's not that price, because that's just kind of ridiculous if we're being completely honest. But this is a console that is very much appreciated, okay? Because Switch first launched in 2017. So yeah, It's been a minute. An 8-year long console cycle that has been very profitable, very productive for Nintendo. Meanwhile, there's other console rumors out there right now that, oh, the PlayStation 6 is coming out, which is absolutely hilarious because it wasn't that long ago, and the sales data on the PS5 Pro, oh boy, that's been fairly pathetic, but the PS6 will launch in 2027, says insiders with next-gen specs leak. Oh yeah, now it's going to be next-gen, but I thought the PS5 was already next-gen. You know, that console for the first couple of years, nobody could buy it, and then the first-party titles that they come out with also had PS4 ports for the better part of 5 years in the console's life cycle. Like, it was only within the past year or so they started to really phase that out, but God of War Ragnarok, or arguably their biggest driver, had a PS4 release. I think the only real first-party title that did away with a PS4 release might have been Spider-Man 2. And we know how well that one ended up performing, but who's actually looking forward to a PS6? Nobody bought the 5 Pro. Very few people are actually buying games for the PS5 that they tried so hard to get. There was artificial scarcity at the beginning, and honestly, the games that released at the beginning of that console's life cycle look just as good as the stuff that's coming out. No, that's not just an objective, oh wow, they're really just creating sludge, aren't they? Comment, no, that's just an objective graphical fidelity comment. They aren't doing anything. This is wild. Sony's next console might be closer than expected, as a leaker claims to have details around the system's capabilities. Half of all PlayStation players still have yet to buy... Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, with half of all PlayStation players still yet to buy a PS5. Yeah, because I'm pretty sure, like, even as well as the Switch sold, the PS2 is still the best-selling console of all time. And because they fumbled the PS3's release so badly, it only came around to eventually win the 8th console cycle, or yeah, the 8th generation. Or 7th generation, that would be. The 6th generation was PS2. Duh, my mistake. Because we're on the 9 right now, moving into the 10, I guess, potentially. Sony has a real task on its hands convincing people to invest in the next generation. Yeah, because the price point for the Pro was absolutely absurd. $700, and you didn't even get a disk drive. Yo, you're giving people less. You're asking for more for games that'll look better on a PC. Like, what are you doing? A new console in the next few years might seem premature, but Sony has already talked about the PS6. Around the same time last year, a report emerged claiming Sony had already struck a deal with AMD to create the console's technology. Shortly after, yes, the reveal of the Switch 2, new insider information has emerged around Sony's next console, suggesting it is further along in development than previously anticipated. And the new leak stems from insider Kelper, who previously leaked specs of the PS5 Pro console, and the post on NeoGAF, the leaker claimed that the PS6 is a design complete and pre-silicon validation already. Interesting. Also claims AO tape out. The process of manufacturing the first iteration of the system's chip is scheduled for late this year, according to Kepler. Sony's usual cadence is 2 years from AO tape out to console release. So a 7-year life cycle isn't, like, it's not out of the realm of possibility. That's, yeah, generally when Sony does the handover, like as it shows right here, if true, that would mean the PS6 would launch in late 2027. This would track with Sony gaps between consoles since the PlayStation 3, with the 4 arriving 7 years later in 2013, and the PlayStation 5 launching another 7 years later in 2020. But after the release of Final Fantasy VII Reclaim, Part 3 of the Make trilogy, it's like, bro, you're not tricking me into getting a PS5, or I'm sorry, a PS6, because if it wasn't for Rebirth's exclusivity, I wouldn't have picked up my PS5 secondhand. Like, I never would have bought it, because looking at the quote-unquote exclusives that they have that eventually make their way over to PC, none of them are exciting. The console market, it's death by greed. Death by hubris. Everybody had a PS2 back in the day. People eventually came around to owning a PS3. Or if they didn't, they had a 360. And then after Microsoft went on stage and shot themselves in the head with the reveal of the Xbox One, I would say that was the moment in time where the console industry died. E3 2013. And since then, we've been living in a zombie industry. Nintendo's off doing Nintendo things. PC gaming continues to pick up steam, and Sony and Xbox, and Microsoft specifically, are left fighting over the scraps. And if Sony continues to have the type of year they did in 2024, doubling down on stupid live service games and not doing what made them successful to begin with, could release the PlayStation 6, and it'll go over like the PS5 Pro. They will become Sega for a new age. But here's the thing, they won't have a renaissance a few decades down the line like Sega has with the Sonic the Hedgehog movies, because ain't nobody sticking around to watch a stupid-ass Horizon Alloy movie. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.